In a world where news flies around every minute, you need the ability to relate and connect with what matters and stay up to date. Schengen Story Media News Echoes program is Africans in Diaspora and at Home's leading English news network, one of the most trusted, respected sources for news updates on current affairs as they affect global Africa. Elevate your new week, fuel your success. SSM invites you to kickstart each weekday with our news update Between the Lines, featuring the week's top news and analysis and the most attention-grabbing lines, deciphering world events. Hook up to SSM Monday program Between the Lines.
I hope your Nook Up viewers around the world, you're welcome. Between the Lines, Monday, the 25th of November, 2024. My name is Godwin Juma, and we are here on our Monday news update tonic. As usual, I have my coordinators, my partners from different parts of the world. In faraway Lagos, Nigeria, is Ogbeni Olayinka Raji. Raji, how are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. Good evening, Mark. Good evening, viewers around the world. Welcome to our Monday program as usual. For a nice time, a good time.
Yes, it's good to see you, Raji. Hope the weekend was sweet. I mean, you can't miss those beautiful moments in Lagos. I know how it is, weekends in Lagos. Yes. How was your weekend?
In spite of all the T-pains, we had time for jollification.
Nice. That's the spirit of Nigeria. And joining us in Toronto, Canada, that has that same spirit, that spirit of enjoy yourself regardless of any situation, is Sir George Chuku from Toronto, Canada. Georgie, how are you?
So I'm awesome. Well, Olayinka Raji, my man from Lagos, and my Godwin, viewers from around the world want to welcome you. You know, this is Chief Amunudun of Ogidi Land, all the way from Toronto, Canada.
Nice.
That was actually confirmed. It was confirmed on me by the Oni of Ife. You know, so.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
George, you don't know the weight of that title. That's heavy. Raji and I know what that means. Amunudun.
Amunudun of Ogidi Land. Yeah.
You bring happiness, you bring gladness into dark situations. Yeah, you know?
Yes.
Raji, tell him the title he has. Tell him.
The man who brings good cheer and happiness into any situation.
Oh,
regardless
that's
of
wonderful.
Whatever is happening, you are cheerful, you bring cheeriness to everybody. That's the spirit of life.
That's wonderful.
Life.
And that's what George really is. I've met him some years back. I see that liveliness in him. All right, guys, let's go into some things that are not really bringing good cheer to some people. We saw a video during the weekend on Sunday. The preacher man from the United States, George, I know you're a church fan too. T.G. Jakes, had slight health issue during the Sunday sermon preaching. And he was praying with Psalms 19, verse 14. And somehow the thing came on him. Let's see the clip. Let's see the clip before we continue, guys. Let's see what happened to TD Jakes.
There got to be somebody special to come get it. PMT serve the people of God. It was a pleasure. I still love to preach. I ain't tired of preaching. I miss you. I miss you. Have you ever gone to the hospital to visit somebody and you thought you was going to encourage them and they encourage you? That's what preaching is like. You think you're giving out something, but you're getting back more than you gave. I love you. Now, Lord, let the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. O Lord, my strength, my Redeemer. Let them go in peace.
It's a long one. Sorry, viewers. We took some time to show that clip. Anyway, that's TD Jakes, the United States preacher man, suffering slight health issue. The owner of the mega church in Dallas, Texas. George, let me start with you. When we see this kind of thing, sometimes we feel probably he's doing too much. I mean, he needs to also have some rest at a point in his age. What do you think, George? Tell us what's happening there.
Well, you know, most of the time when you see a lot of these preachers that have mega churches and they're always traveling, most of the time they don't even have time sometimes to, you know, refresh, take care of themselves. So this is exactly what you might be seeing, because I've had preachers that, like, you know, 1 week they're ministering more than 40 different services and no rest of any type, you know, because they travel and then they deal with people's issues and stuff like that. So most of the time, even insurance, most of the insurance companies, they're scared of, actually accepting life insurance from pastors, because most of the time when they go for their physical, they might be in their 40s, but their hearts will be like 80-year-old man heart, simply because of the kind of tasks and the type of pressure that is put upon them. You deal with people's issues. They tell you all their woes and everything they're going through. You're carrying that. Even Paul himself in the Bible spoke about, you know, what he had to go through, you know, because of the churches that he opened in different places, how he had to travel from one place to another, you know, to ensure that things are working out well. So, you know, when you see these things, sometimes it is very, very heart-wrenching. And this man is, his church is about 30,000 people. You know, his daughter and his daughter spoke later and told us that he's doing well. You know, so,
Okay.
you know, prayers are pouring in, and then, you know, I think he's going to recover very soon. You know, he's going to be back on the pulpit. You know, you see, the gifts and the callings of God are without repentance. And most of the time, even when they are a little older, they will continue to go. If you remember, what's his name, Brother Hagen, he died in at the age of 80 something, but he ministered until his death. Even what's his name from this other place, another mega church person, not Charles Stanley, also the same thing, and Frederick Price, the same thing. So these are people, they have a lot of load, but God wants them to take time, refresh yourself, and what you cannot handle, let younger people, take care of it. There comes a time when you need to really take it easier, and because you're dealing with thousands upon thousands of people. It's not easy, but our prayers are with him, and I know he's going to make it. The man found out that he's from Unkwere, although he's an Unkwere man. Yeah, he is. Yeah.
I
Anyway,
heard that. Raji,
Yes.
this is it. What we see there, what we just saw there, it's a little bit. I mean, you feel, exhaustion. Tell us what's your take on TGG?
I'm with Idito Sir George on the needs of the pastor. See, when the pastor has needs, people don't think that pastors even have needs. When a pastor has needs, he goes to himself. Meanwhile, he pours himself out to the congregation, and more often than not, he pours himself completely out. So, but then a pastor should also know that even the shepherd will need some rest, so that he'll be able to be a good shepherd.
The shepherd will need some rest,
so that he can be able to be a good shepherd. I wish him a quick recovery.
Yeah. Some pastors right now, they are taking it easy, because what has happened is they've seen the catastrophic chaos that can happen. When you strike the shepherd, the sheep will scatter. Sometimes some of them, like Benson Idahosa, he died very early in his life, and then you can continue to see. But right now, many of them have realized the importance of refreshing themselves, because you can give and give and give and give, and you empty yourself, whereby you become so empty and vulnerable to all kinds of mess that might come your way.
Okay, thank you very much. So, viewers, that's the clip we saw earlier was the Bishop T.D. Jakes experiencing slight health issue, but immediately medical attention was given to him, and the information, like George said, is doing fine. Thank the family, they thank everybody for their prayers, the support, and we pray he gets the rest he needs. Thank you, George. Thank you, Raji. Gentlemen, let's continue with some of these updates we've been getting during the week. As a sad thing, George, before we go to the update, I want to say something about this DNA people are showing nowadays. How accurate could those DNA be, your ancestral line? Because some of these slaves that were taken have mixed up. I mean, generation coming, you've had different mix in that line. So how accurate can this ancestral DNA thing they are claiming, how accurate can it be, George?
Well, it's scientific, and it's to them they say that it's accurate. I know you mix up with different people, different bloodlines and everything else, but scientifically they have proven, because it's almost like what we were discussing last week, when you said if you were to find a fossil now, or a bone of a man who died maybe, let's just say 6,000 years ago or 5,000 years ago, all you see is their bone. But you can determine whether they are a man or a woman, not because of, because when you see the genetic culture in their body. So we know those, those are things that are beyond our own explanation scientifically, but there are accuracy to it, and they do what you call carbon dating also, that can tell you the average age of a particular type of person or fossils or whatever.
Yes.
Do you believe that those ancestral identity? Do you believe that? Okay, go ahead.
You can do an analysis of anybody, and you can find percentages of the DNAs that pertain to certain areas of the world. You can find that, okay, this person is probably 50% West African, 20% somewhere else, and 10% Irish or English, maybe because the ancestor had some dealings with the slave master and therefore had a child, so that you can find the proportions of every race's percentage presence in that body, and you can trace it to a certain area.
Yes, before we continue, let's welcome Godwin eBay. Kurosha, Godwin, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Thank you for having me, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for tuning in.
Well, good to have you, Dr. Godwin.
Thank you. So unfortunately, on Fridays it's quite difficult for me to be on the Russian segment, but this evening time is favoring me.
No problem, no problem. You're saving lives, so we appreciate you whenever you can make it. Yes, it's saving lives.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Dr. Godwin, before we go into the topics for today, we were talking something. George was telling us how somebody, T.D. Jakes, we talked about earlier, how he found out his ancestral line. And I was asking them, how accurate can that be? Because you're talking of thousands of years ago, and now somebody comes and says, I'm from Udreliba in Lagos State. I mean, tell us, Godwin, how accurate can the ancestral DNA thing be?
You want me to talk?
Yeah, go ahead.
The difference between us and monkeys is less than 1% in DNA. Our humanity, for all its word, for all its meaning and encapsulated in the word humanity, is less than 1% of DNA. And even when we go between different races, it's even much less. Yeah, genealogy looks for those particular patterns which could use to trace heredity. And it's amazing that we're able to find those minute differences, even considering that we have less than 1% difference from animals in terms of our genetic makeup. So yeah, I think that's all I have to add. We've gone a long way in terms of genetics and genetic engineering. But I can't get the crux of the matter. Are we happy that TD Jakes is African? I think I am. But I'm not fully privy to the reasons as to why he had a health problem. And I wish him well. I hope he recovers, and I hope that his family is there to support him.
All right, then. Thank you. That was brief and very good. All right, gentlemen, let's come to another big story. I don't know if you guys are all having it from your end. There is there are news update that's been going on. Now the number is increasing too. Young ladies killed in Laos. The young ladies from Denmark, from Australia, from the UK went on what you call it's actually, they say some of them were on a celebration of leaving school, and they thought going to Laos will be an ideal place to look around. But they all ended up taking in methanol poison drinks, and now they are dying. As of yesterday, there are 6 of them that have died so far, and about 20 of them sick. I don't know. Do you guys have the story? But before we say this, give your even. Let's see a clip from what's happening there. Let's see.
I hope it's YouTube friendly.
Yeah, it's YouTube friendly. I hope so. I mean. In my head, I don't know what to think. goes on and on and on. Now, what you see there, all of those pictures you're seeing there are all gone. These are diseased young ladies. And the numbers might also increase by the end of the week. Now, they died from poisoning, taking drinks that they said were spiked, and now they are dying. My question to you, or if you have any updates on this, is do you think this is a deliberate act to poison these young ladies? What could be the rationale behind this? George, are you following that story?
Yeah, I am following the story. It's very, very, very sad, actually. And you know, one of the major problems we have in this modern, you know, the Gen Z and Gen Y generation, they're very inquisitive. And you know, even with this scientific developments and everything that is happening, most of them, you know, you tend to see many of them, they are not very happy with life, and they're seeking, you know, solace somehow. So you know, they try all kinds of things, you know, just to accommodate their emotional traumas and chaoses that they're going through. Some of them are looking for the meaning to life. Why am I even here? You know, you saw the other day when we were talking about a young lady who went and sued the parents. You know, why are you suing your parents? Because you know they say, you know, you didn't ask my permission before you brought me into this world. Therefore, you didn't tell me that I have to grow up and work to pay my bills, and you just brought me into this world. Therefore, I am suing you because you need my permission to bring me to this life. So another one happened recently in Canada here. She just found a job after finishing school and then called the police. And the police, you know, emergency. And they said, oh, what can we help you with? I need police escort to take me to work, because if I'm driving to work right now, you know, it's not gonna for me, because I'll be late to work and I don't want to be late. And so we don't do that kind of emergency. So that's the mentality of this young generation. So you begin to see that because of economy and the way things are, people are even scared to touch their kids, to discipline them at home. So these people, they grow up, you know, just not understanding the meaning of life or whatever the case might be, and they're seeking solace in different areas. So that's what I think that happened there, because they try all kinds of things, and maybe it was given to them and they knew that it was there and they tested it because they want to have fun. I don't think it was you know, something like somebody deliberately just go and put methanol in their drinks. You know, they might know that it is there and they still try it.
The hostel
So that's what I think is happening, and it's very sad.
Yeah,
Maybe the
hostel manager. Yeah, that's it. The hostel manager and bartender.
You're muted.
Okay.
We're not. Hello.
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Can hear you. Yes.
Okay. So yeah, the hostel manager and the bartender said that was not in their bar. The spike, whatever it may be, was not in the drink they served them. So we're wondering how this could happen, and large number of people die from drink. Godwin, tell us, poisoning, ethanol poisoning, and methanol poisoning. Does it kill like that?
Yes, obviously. And there's the economic reasons for that.
Okay.
Yes. Mostly you find methanol poisoning in cheap alcoholic beverages, and that is because of the effectiveness of methanol in getting people high with much little quantity. But at the same time, it has a higher affinity for the respiratory center, cardiac and respiratory center, and can suppress it at much lower concentrations than ethanol. So there are economic benefits to using, economic reasons to using methanol in place of ethanol, but it's very, very dangerous. And such experiments with toxicity could lead to dire consequences. Now, I'm not saying that they intentionally did this. I don't know. But we know that in practice, this is done and found in cheap beverages media. So rest in peace, and I hope their family and loved ones find the solace to bear this great loss.
Thank you. So, Raji, does this hinder? Does it make people say, "Don't go to the southeast part of Asia. Don't go to some of these these beautiful places"? Anyway, does this hinder tourism for those people?
First and foremost, my condolences to the families of those who have lost their young children, because they are essentially young children. And I believe that, I really hope that it wasn't deliberate. And I don't think it will have been deliberate. I think it's part of the experimentations that young people now sometimes involve themselves in. And I'm sure that this will not stop people from taking holiday trips to the Southeastern Asian countries, because the life is very cheap there. Things are very cheap there, and when you get there, you have a lot of places to go to. So the whole area is just for has a serious tourist attraction to young people who are coming out, and so many other incidents have happened in the past, like the bombing in Bali and the killing of some tourists, but that will still not stop people from going to that area. In fact, if I have the chance now, I'll be there. I have a friend who I spoke to who is in Vietnam now and who is enjoying his life. Very, very simple, cheap areas to go to, very, very attractive, and with a lot of history too.
Oh yeah, yes, a lot of history too. So, viewers, what you're seeing are some of the pictures of the young ladies that have passed on as a result of the spiked poisoning drink they had in Laos. That's Southeast Asia, beautiful island, beautiful sceneries you have there, and the Europeans like to go there too. Now we're having this tragedy. And these girls come from different parts of Europe, from Australia, from the UK,
Australia, from Denmark, and all those, yeah.
You know, all converged to have fun, and now it has become a tragedy. All right, George. Yes, you want to add anything?
Yeah. I wanted to say something also, because there was some complaint about from one of the people that survived this, because they were talking about some drinks that they have in that place that was not very well refined drinks, and is causing stomach issues and stomach problems. So it will not prevent people from going, but I believe that people should be cautioned when they travel to some of these places. Stay with what you know. Don't go into trying things that you don't know about. You have to be careful, because number one is some of these other places, when you go there, maybe the people are used to their system, are used to some of the things that they take, but for us that are in this part of the world, from West Africa, North America, and some of these other European countries, they might not be used to those things. And then when they prepare these drinks, they might be using contaminated water, and we don't know what they use, and the body might be so susceptible to such viruses and stuff like that. So people got to be careful when they travel to some of these countries, and make sure that what they are consuming is actually is good, and that their body can contain it and accommodate it.
And also, let's say this to boost our continent. Come more to Africa. Europeans, come to Africa for your tourism. Reduce this Southeast Asia. Listen, Africa, you can have the bad one and the good one. So, and there's always the good one, the good drinks, the fine drinks, clean drinks. You will not have any hiccup and stomach upset with the drinks. So come to Africa. You guys open to the tourists. Come to Africa, gentlemen. Thank you for this.
Just add something very quickly. Very quickly. One of the signs of Methanol poisoning, one of the signs that requires emergency attendance is blindness or loss of vision. Naturally, when you take blindness. Well, if you take methanol, just a pint, you just have, I mean, very little quantity, less than half, just very small amount, you immediately lose sight, and you start seeing problems. It just like basically embalms the retina. So when you take any kind of alcohol and you notice your vision is affected, it's an emergency. You should. It's not normal for ethanol to do that. And also the consequence of the chemical metabolism of methanol, it produces formaldehyde, which is extremely dangerous. Just a glass full of ethanol could cause permanent damages. So it's very important to pay attention to these signs when you take a drink that you may not be certain if it's ethanol.
Viewers, now you're getting something you never paid for. An doctoral medical advice on how you drink. Because we're going into a drinking period. You know, December is that time we drink the hell out of drink. So Godwin has just given us the tip to survive drinks in December. So please watch what you're drinking. As much as we want to get happy, high, be conscious of what you're taking.
Stick
labels.
To palm wine.
Pregnant women, please.
Palm wine. Nobody has died from palm wine poisoning.
Pregnant women, avoid alcohol. It's teratogenic. It affects the
avoid alcohol.
Yes.
Okay.
Please.
Thank you, Godwin.
Stick
Thank
to
you,
palm
guys.
wine.
So let's go on a small break. Okay, we live with that. Stick to palm wine, Raji says.
As a matter of fact, it's been proven that palm wine will increase your sight. It will fix your bad sight. You know, according to, I don't know if that's true or not. Oh, yes.
It's gotten from an oil rich in vitamin A.
It is divine drinking.
All right, guys, let's come back. Let's go on a small break. It's getting excited now. Let's go on a small break. We'll be back. Thank you. Stick to palm wine.
Elevate your new week, fuel your success. SSM invites you to kickstart each weekday with our news update Between the Lines, featuring the week's top news and analysis and the most attention-grabbing lines, deciphering world events. Hook up to SSM Monday program Between the Lines. In a world where news flies around every minute, you need the ability to relate and connect with what matters and stay up to date. Schengen Story Media News Echoes program is Africans in diaspora and at home's leading English news network, one of the most trusted, respected sources for news updates on current affairs as they affect global Africa.
All right, gentlemen, you're welcome. You're welcome back, viewers. We're back to Wednesday, 25th November, Between the Lines, our first news update for the week. Raji, there was this thing that happened in the morning in Lagos. I think let's see the clip before we continue. Viewers, let's see this clip. It's a little bit distressing, but not as bad as it is.
Hey, Jesus, happening now. Hey, God of mercy. Hey, God of mercy. God of mercy. You never done that, Lord of Jesus. 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 My two. This is happening live in my two. My two now. This is happening live. Hey. It's happening my two now. No. Hey, Jehovah, I want to carry this up.
Okay, as crazy as that may look, Raji, the driver was rescued alive. And they say he wasn't even, there was no scratch. No, he was okay. They took him to the hospital anyway. The driver of that Toyota Camry with the registration number LSR 293HJ was crushed by a 40-foot container. Give us the story, Raji. Tell us.
No, just about 2 weeks ago, a similar incident happened. I don't know whether it was still along that route. These things happen rather too regularly for comfort. Well, luckily for the 2 incidences that I heard about, all the people were saved by a miracle. They were all saved.
Miracle.
I think we should, the FRSC and the VIOs who are in charge of making sure that we have good vehicles on the road should be more vigilant. A lot of these containers are not even held down by anything. They are only held down by their own, by gravity and by whatever, the fact that probably the surface is level. Then whenever there's a certain change in gravity and in what do you call it now? No, I've forgotten the word that I need to, a technical word I need to use. You find the containers toppling over and onto vehicles, especially where the road is rough and where probably the vehicle is also speeding. And you also find out that a lot of these vehicles, a lot of these containers are pulled by Mack trucks. And when you look at those Mack trucks, I have not seen any Mack truck which is less than 30 years old from the look of it. Most of them are completely, they are overaged. But because Mack trucks are built to last, they are still being used. But meanwhile, the trailers are rather very rickety. You can see trailers where they have been welding along the path of the and those places develop fault points from where the container they are carrying may topple or something like that. A lot of the time too, the containers are overladen. Containers are overladen with goods beyond their capacity. Yes, and therefore all those things happens. Those guys, the driver was quite lucky to have escaped because the vehicle was essentially flattened.
George,
yes.
I mean, we know we are in this business of bringing containers. We are always bringing in containers. Don't you think the government should have a real structured plan to move these containers to wherever they are going to? If possible, trailers should have like their own separate parts, road parts on the express. Yeah, I mean, George, tell us how do you see this whole thing?
Well, there are many facets of this particular situation, and number one is bad roads. If the roads were flat, if our roads were good enough, I don't think, that's another issue there, because some of these toppled containers are simply because sometimes you go into deep dish and then all of a sudden the whole thing will fall out. But not only that, another issue that I am just a little concerned about. Thankfully enough, this man survived. That's a miracle. If looking at that particular vehicle, that's a serious miracle. And then also the agencies that actually helped. 3 of them, the road safety, the LASMA, or I don't know what you call them again, the FRSC, all of them, they came together and was able to rescue this man, which is fantastic. But also another issue that we have is corruption in our country, whereby some of these containers might be stopped several times on the road by road safety people, and because of a little bit of change that they give to them, they allow them to continue. So these are the things that needs to be checked because lives are at stake. And thankfully, this man now was saved. What if there were so many people there that the container fell upon? Could have been talking about another story now. So we have to ensure that those that are on the road, when they see situations like this, that let's make sure that you pull them off the road until the container is secure. Look at that. Look at this is another one. So these are the things that are this is something that is so dangerous and very, very dicey situation. Look at that. Look at that. So we need to be very careful. I believe that some of these agencies that are on the road, they need to be stopping some of these vehicles. And regardless of whatever they bribe them or not, if it is not safe on the road, move it out because it's a matter of life and death.
Thank you very much. Godwin.
May I add something? Before Godwin comes in, there was a time when trailers were restricted during the day from moving around, and they can only move around towards the evening where traffic is very low.
Idea. Yes. What happened to that? What happened to that?
I don't know. Something changed. And then there was also the case where before the container could enter at the express road, there were way bridges that will determine that the weight is as specified. But all those way bridges have been destroyed, have been removed, and no weight. There's no weight restrictions anymore.
No weight. Yes. Right. Godwin, tell us, what do you think about this? What's your take on this?
Every road has weight limit and the class and which kind of vehicles can pass through them. Obviously, we do not seem to pay attention to this, so we violate this and cause damage to the road. Next is the road safety that Sir George was talking about. I wonder how is it just like is it just to use the keywords? I mean, look, who is checking the road safety? Do they even know what safety is? And also, even if you check a trailer for road safety and the trailer enters pothole 5 times, with the one bolt not loose, is it still road safe? Like, I mean, even if it's just coming from road safety mechanic and it passes through 5 potholes, how will the bolt? It's not working on everlasting or the supernatural bolt. It's using just the normal mechanical one. So bad roads, it's very detrimental to road safety in general. And then last but not the least, many countries apply this schedule for trailers and heavy vehicles. There's no reason why Nigeria shouldn't also be doing that, because it's not only about the safety, it's about the lack of visibility by these high vehicles. They obstruct visibility, and this is a very big problem, especially for roads that are marked at speeds above 60 kilometers per hour. So that loss of visibility is also a problem. So it's not just only about the safety per se for the people around, but it's about the visibility and the speed limit of those class of vehicles. So they are causing traffic because they are not also commissioned to drive like sports cars. The diesel engine is not made to run like sports cars. So it's a lot of problem not having a schedule for those class of vehicles.
No problem.
And another thing that I wanted to add, Dr. Mike Godwin, is checking for drivers whether because I have seen, when I was in one bus one time, one of these big buses that are traveling, before we went into the vehicle, I saw the driver and he was just guzzling a lot of alcohol, and so when I came out and passed him, I smelt it. And I turned around and I looked at him. He looked away, and started walking into the bathroom. And then I left. So when we got into the vehicle, I went to him and I said, I hope you're able to handle this, because if you one single mess, we will stop you and make sure that we beat you up. And I was just like, he started laughing. No, I can handle it. But that's another issue there. Some of them, they smoke, some of them they drink, and then because there is, and when you're not completely without your senses functioning well, slightest situation can actually cause you to have an accident. So these are other things that need to be checked, where we need to get breathalyzers, ensure that even there be checkpoints where you can breathalyze some of these drivers and make sure that they are just completely
going further what Sir George said, there are no good point system for drivers. I mean, like, driver license should be strictly attached to the NIN and our NIN numbers, which is being introduced. The NIN numbers should be specific, and you don't have to wait till mortal, life-threatening accident before you're able to take away this license. There ought to be punishment and fraud-resistant mechanism for holding drivers accountable, so they don't just change the driver license and just go with a new this thing. We have to be able to hold drivers accountable, and a rewarding system that motivates drivers to have less accidents so that they pay less insurance premium, have that self-motivation to drive safe, knowing that it's in the interest of everybody and for them economically as well. We have to have that model so that it encourages people. When they know that there are costs to their actions, it will help to control their behavior.
Wow, nice. Listen, I mean, you can't have any more than this. Giving real good insights and opinion. Thank you, Godwin, Raji. Let's come to the other part of Africa. Namibia is having its election very soon, and there's a probability that a woman will be the next president. I don't know, Raji, if you're following that story. We know in March of this year, the Namibian president, Hage Gyanimbi, died. I don't know if you remember that story then. He passed away. And the other man came in, one Mbamba. Mangolo Mbamba came in as the acting president, but now they have to go to the polls. And there's a lady that looks like is going to take the lead in the poll. Now, this sounds good. So what's your view there? Raji, let me start with you. You think the woman will come top that will be by Friday? Nandi Ndawati. Nandi Ndawati could become the first female president of Namibia. Let's talk about Namibia, the country of 1.5.
Yeah. The lady,
right.
The lady is actually making waves. And I wish her the best of luck. I don't know the other candidates, but I've heard so much about the lady. And I pray that there will be a free and fair elections. And if she's the best candidate, may the best candidate win.
May the best candidate win. Yes, George.
That's what I'm hoping for too, because what a man can do, most of the time a woman can do better. Because we have taken it for granted that men, that we have this male domineering type of situation in Africa. When we see some intelligent, very vibrant, wise women that can take the country to another level. And we ignore them because of that male domineering type of attitude that we have in Africa. So, hopefully she'll be able to make the winner if she's the best candidate, though. We need a candidate that can actually represent the people and also represent their country outside of Namibia. So hopefully she might be the one to come out of it and win the election if she's the best candidate. Like what was said, well, if there is fair and free election, So that's what it is.
Well, those countries don't have much. Okay, go ahead, Godwin. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, as long as she's not Kamala, she already has a higher chance of winning. I'm sorry, I had to. But as long as she can be and she's not unburdened by what has been, she's more likely.
Now, George is not laughing to that. George.
I don't know. These days when it comes to politics, I just have to be very, what we need is good leaders, whether male or female, whether Kamala or Trump. America has claimed, America have taken their country back from according to them. So let the white people rule, so the country will be great again. When the white man is in the White House, that's it. So they have won. So let them go ahead.
Now we're talking Namibia.
Namibia, that's what we're talking about.
Let's talk about Namibia. Let's leave America for now. Let's talk about Namibia. Namibia is a beautiful country. It's also home to tourism. Now we're telling our Europeans to reduce some of these other Southeast Asian country movement and come to Africa. You need to go to Namibia. You need to go to Botswana. You need to go to Zambia, Zimbabwe. These are beautiful African countries. Tanzania, that's another one.
Kenya,
thank you.
Namibians are lovely people. I was just so fortunate to meet a couple of them, and still meeting a number of them. They are really lovely people, simple, down to earth, and hardworking. They deserve a good leader, and it's obvious that she's loved by the people, and I support anyone who's loved by the people, and it means she has made some efforts and strides in meeting the general interest. And there are about 15 presidential candidates of registered political parties.
Yes.
So there's enough competition for us to say that she really has the love of the people. Not like two-horse race or something like that. There's enough competition for her to have made a name, and it's coming at the back of her party losing a lot in the last election and the previous election cycle. A lot of seats also in legislative house. But she sprung back, and people have been able to identify what they were missing before in the party. So I think it's a genuine, legit, and I wish her the best.
Wow, thank you very much. All right, gentlemen. Our time is running very fast, but we need to go through everything. There's a story coming from Edo State, guys. Edo State new governor and his team. His spokesman came out this morning and said 500 Edo government official cars are still missing. So what we're seeing is a very terrible handover. We don't know who's saying the truth. We don't know what's happening, but there's this animosity. There's real bad energy flowing between the former governor's people and the new governor. So let's talk about Edo State. Raji, let me start with you. You're back home there. Do you think really
there definitely should be? There definitely will be a lot of bad blood, because that Edo State election, I think, is the worst election that I've ever witnessed. That Edo State election, and how that election could be allowed to fly is still a very deep negative mark on INEC. And to think that INEC is now being pushed to even conduct local government elections, we are in for a serious. Definitely, there will be a lot of bad blood. Definitely, there should be. 500 vehicles are missing. Edo State is not too big, and I'm sure they'll be able to find those vehicles if they try hard enough.
Sorry, Raji, to ask you, what do you mean by INEC is it's unfortunate
conducting a local government election?
Yes, because INEC don't handle. INEC don't do local government.
Look,
local government election.
please.
It's not
Please.
done by
Yes, there. You know, we are all talking about local government autonomy, and we are very happy. We don't know the damage that thing is going to cause to our federation, because there's already a bill in the NAS demanding that it has gone past the second or third reading, and that INEC is now going to take over local government elections across all the states. We should be careful.
No, what is the disadvantage? I'm trying you to make you say, is it that they're so bad at conducting election, or they have or the whole bimodal PVC thing isn't working?
What type of government are we running? Are we running a unitary government or federal government? If it's a federal government, the states should be in charge of the local government.
Local government elections.
Normally,
in the US, even in the US at this stage, the presidential elections are conducted state by state, not by federal, but
yes.
state by state.
So let's make God understand. Raji, let's make him understand also. Normally in Nigeria, state elections are not done by local government elections are not done by the INEC, the federal
I know
body.
that.
So Rivers State was conducted by AMAC. AMAC was the body that ran the Rivers State local government election. And this one too should have been so, but now they are trying to change that policy, and INEC might be running all the local government election. That's what Raji is saying.
Of course, it's not ideal for INEC to be running it, but I did that bad at conduct. That's my point.
Yes, they are.
No, have they shown any propensity to good elections?
Nothing. Yeah.
I want to know your experience.
One of the disadvantages of this, is that when INEC is controlling those local government elections, then they will control the ruling party. Usually will manipulate situations to favor them, rather than allowing that neutrality to come into the electoral process. So, you see it, what we're talking about, Edo State. Raji quite correctly said that it's one of the worst elections. So INEC cannot be trusted. So when so far with the federal and the state elections, that has, they have marred it with so many irregularities. And then the Justice Department, the DOJ is not doing any better. So now when you take this one and put into their coffers, they will control everything. They will control it, because they will put the person that they want to be there, especially why this interest is coming forth right now. You see, simply because they wanted to make them autonomous, so that they can, money will go straight to them. Now you will begin to see that they will put their own people there, those people that they can control. And this is exactly one of the things that we should not be, allowing in our country, especially with the state of political affairs and the landscape in that country.
Oh, yeah. Nice. All right, gentlemen. Guys, our time is really far gone. But let's just do some shout out to our former Vice President, former Vice Banjo. Yes, he's celebrating his 35th wedding anniversary, and he's also using that to give the wife some accolades, some beautiful words. He said, so what do you guys say? We're all men here. Oh yeah, let's say something to the Vice President, former Vice President, and the wife on their 35th anniversary. George, let's start with you.
Yes, well, Osibanjo, his Excellency, congratulations. You've shown that you're a true man of God, so far, and having married to this woman for 35 years, we hope that you will continue to be a good father to your children and a good husband to your wife, and an elderly statesman indeed. You are a man of honor. The number of years or number of months that you actually took over from Buhari, we saw the change that could have been, during your leadership in those times. So we congratulate you, on this milestone that you're celebrating.
Thank you, George. Yes, Raji, let's hear from you. Oh dear, I think Raji's network went off. Okay, Godwin, are you there?
Yes, I am. I think.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me? I think.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so just said a lot of things that resonate well in terms of comparatively difference in dynamics of when he had the opportunity to head for a while. But the politics aside, I wish him a happy wedding anniversary. I wish, of course, such strong family unit, especially at the head of the homes, I believe has been very paramount to the well-being of the children he's raised and his contribution to the immediate community. And it's one of the reasons why I support the family structure, and it's a testament to which is showing that it's one of the core tenets of our existence and community. And it also goes in the face of all those who try to denigrate the institution of marriage and to redefine it under all sorts of grossly foolish ideologies. It's clearly between a man and a woman, and such union has shown to be the most stable. And over the course of these stable years, he has shown he's been able to influence the lives of people around. So happy wedding anniversary once again, Your Excellency.
Thank you. Yes, gentlemen, let's come on Wednesday. There is a serious thing happening in Egypt. 17 people so far have been missing. A tourist boat sank, and the authorities say people have they can't find many people. So Egypt is in dark now. So we'll come on Wednesday. We'll talk about this if you're there, but maybe by then we would have gotten some more information from that story. Egypt. Also, we have images floating around. France and Italy has been protesting violence against women. Today, in the morning of today, there have been protests around major cities in France and Italy on violence against women. Because the pictures are a little bit explicit, we won't put them out here. Anyway, guys, thank you.
Sorry, I think you should also talk about the potential deal between Israel, Hezbollah, Israel, Gaza. I think
yes. We'll come Friday. If you can make it Friday, it's serious.
I won't be there, but
going on. Heavy bombing this morning, yesterday. The thing is getting out of hand now. Getting out of hand. It's crazy. All right, guys. Until we come again on Wednesday.
Adios, amigos.
Yes. Adios, amiga.
In a world where news flies around every minute, you need the ability to relate and connect with what matters and stay up to date. Schengen Story Media News Echoes program is Africans in Diaspora and at Home's leading English news network, one of the most trusted, respected sources for news updates on current affairs as they affect global Africa.